What's up and welcome back for another one of Ryce's Pieces. And if you're new here, welcome. Ryce's Pieces has the prescription for lifestyle on a budget. Everybody loves a good outdoor sofa. Well, we wanted one too, so we could cheer on our Auburn Tigers during fall football. We're going to show you exactly what we did to get that done. We had a little situation earlier. To start off with, Jeremy cut 2x4s and 1x2 trim pieces using the miter saw, and I used the Hole Jig to put pocket holes into the wood at the same time. As Jeremy cut each piece, we tried to fit them together to see what they look like without actually screwing them together. You may hear this term referred to as dry fitting. As you can see, we had 2x4s for structure and also some 1x2s for decorative arms. We spaced those pieces out and realized two things. One, the plan wasn't planning for us, and two, the woods didn't match. So we had to get some new wood. We had a little situation earlier. We realized the plans weren't exactly what we needed, so we had to make some adjustments. And so now we have the new wood and we're making new cuts, and we were able to dry fit the old pieces to know what exactly we needed to cut so that we can start assembling the sides. And so that's what we're gonna do next. Now that we had the new wood, we could get started making those cuts. One tip that we have is to clamp the wood before you make the cut if you're cutting multiple pieces at the same time. This ensures that every cut is the same length and you don't have to do double work. Another tip is that if you have multiple of the same cuts, create a block at the end of your miter saw so that you don't have to remeasure every time, and you know that if it hits the block, it's the correct length, which is what we did here. Again, we tag team by cutting and drilling pocket holes at the same time. Guys, by the end of this project, your girl did not want to see that pocket hole jig. We compared the new pieces to the old ones we had cut before to make sure the adjustments we were making made sense before moving on. At this point, we thought those minor adjustments would be it and it would be smooth sailing, so we kept cutting and drilling. We dry fit the new pieces with the adjustment, which was taking out one of the decorative 1x2s and replacing it with a 2x4 so it would line up with the bench seat portion of the build. We marked where the 2x4 would need to start and spaced the 1x2s accordingly. Of course, it's hot in Texas, so we were making sure to stay hydrated. Once we figured it all out on the first side, we repeated the process with the wood on the second side. Before joining any of the wood with the pocket screws, we ensured that they wouldn't move by adding wood glue to the connections. Then the more fun process started, putting everything together. We made sure that the two arms were level and were the same height. Then we put the decorative pieces in 2x4 in place. So we were able to affix the sides, so now those are ready to go. We tried to do it with pocket screws, but that didn't work well, so we ended up using a brad nailer to get those in. And now Jeremy is measuring the pieces that we need for the bottom slats. For the bench seat portion, it's important to make sure that you space the 2x4 planks out evenly. Initially, we thought a 1x2 would be enough space between the pieces, but it turns out we really needed a 2x4 in between each plank to space it out properly. Once they were placed properly, we were ready to secure them. Since I had already drilled the pocket holes, this went by fairly quickly. The camera died, but we attached the bench to the frame and made sure that it was level. What you didn't get to see at the end of that clip was us trying out the sofa and realizing that it was way too low. What we decided to do was go get dinner, then pick up 2 more 2x4s to lift the sofa up so we could actually use it and sit on it without breaking our necks. Before we had more drama, we decided to test out pocket holes on a scrap piece of 2x4 to see if placing the pocket holes sideways in the lumber would work. Alright, I'm gonna bring you guys in a little closer so you can see It turns out it does. Just make sure that your drill has the right settings. It's not the prettiest pocket hole, but it gets the job done. So now you can see where we added the pocket screws here, and we're going to add these in to add the height to the bench. So that's what we're about to join in now. Of course, make sure the stickers are off the wood before you start. At this point, you've got it, you cut it, it's yours. Once we added the extra height to the bottom, we were able to start putting the back slats in place. Again, we had to use a spacer in order for the slats to be evenly placed. This time, I think we really did use the 1x2 instead of the 2x4. A 2x4 would have been out of control. You guys, it's really a sofa. So that's the final product. On this day, we were just so excited to see the sofa take shape that we sat there and admired it for a little bit. Then we realized we had a lot of staining ahead of us, so we got to work. While I was gone to the Haven conference, Jeremy took the time to fill in all of the pocket holes with wood filler. The one I bought to use was in a tube instead of in a jar. He said that one was trash, but I think it looks like it did a good job. What do you think? Tell me in the comments below. He filled in every hole that would be visible after we stained. He didn't worry about filling the ones on the underside because we had run out of wood filler, and that was something we could come back to and do later after staining was done. Before we could start staining, we had to put out a tarp to protect the cement on our back patio from stain. One day, I really hope we can paint our patio concrete so we can cover all of the paint overspray I've created from DIYs over the years. Once the tarp was secured to the ground with bricks, we put bricks underneath the sofa as well so the stain wouldn't puddle underneath the sofa as it dried. It also made it easier to stain the bottom legs. Since the stain was oil-based, it was very forgiving. If we brushed too much in one spot, all we had to do was brush back over that spot and thin it out. Once we started staining, we knew that the second coat would be necessary. The first coat covered well, but not enough to give us the look that we were going for. I've seen several DIYers use pre-stain before staining anything, and I think I understand why now. We'll try it on the next staining project and let you know. So I'm not sure where this cut off, so I'm just gonna take you around so you can see what the first coat of stain looks like. I think it looks pretty good. It's giving, you know, custom vibes, I think. But that's it so far for now. What I will say is that the pocket hole filler, even though Jeremy said it's trash for like actually filling the holes, it does stain pretty well. So you can see there that it stains pretty good. On the next day of staining, we had to flip the sofa over so we could get the underside of everything we missed on the first day. We realized that even though we were able to catch most of the drips, we did miss a couple, but what we really hoped was that the second coat of stain would cover up those imperfections. We did not want to sand anymore. Since any drips that we caused on the top this time would end up on the bottom, we did flip the sofa over to make sure that we cleaned up any drips or spills that we may have caused by painting the underside of the furniture. The directions said to let it dry for 48 hours, but I'm pretty sure that's for people that don't live in an oven like Texas. The next day, it was Sahara dry. And that's it. We were able to build our own DIY patio sofa for under $200. The cushions we found on clearance turned out great. What do you think? Tell us below. Thanks for watching. Be sure to watch the latest video and subscribe to the channel for the latest Reese's Piece.